All right, well, good evening, everybody. Kevin Crouch here, South Metro Weather, and we have storms coming through. Now, we don't have any severe weather right now. Let me just clarify that first. And, I wasn't sure if we were going to go live or not. Usually I try to reserve it for when severe weather is actually happening, but it looks like we could see stronger storms as this evening goes on, because what we have going on, let me put this in motion, you'll kind of see better what I'm talking about. We have the first line that's catching up to the second one, and as they have continued to get closer, we've noticed that the new line is starting to intensify. Right there near Italy, you're starting to see that little cell, fresh lightning strike out of that. Right here in Waxahachie, starting to see some of that darkening. And so as these two lines, as this first line catches up to the second one, I'm thinking that will strengthen that second line, give it some additional lift, and once those come together, the second line will essentially take over for the first one. So the first thing I'll ask you to do is go ahead and share this stream, of course, the like buttons and the share buttons and all those kind of things, right? All the things that the algorithm likes to see. And then, of course, one of the thing I was supposed to mention, we have the donation links too, the Cash App, Venmo, all that stuff. So we've been talking about this, and this is really the first of two events that we've got in the 7-day forecast. The second will be late Sunday night, early Monday morning. If anything, that might be a better chance for severe weather coming through our area. But for right now, like I say, nothing severe. That said, I actually want to back this up a little bit, get a longer stream here, and you can see this second line catching up to the first one, and that's what we have going on right now. And that is where you can see where the second line coming into the first one is causing this to intensify. And you can see this motion here. As a matter of fact, you can see pretty good motion here. A couple of things happening there. So let's take a trip over to Dyess Air Force Base for their radar, just to kind of give a bigger picture. You can see that all of this is rotating. That low pressure system that has been entrenched and camping out in the desert southwest has finally made its way eastward. That's what's moving through our area right now. And we have storms affiliated with that, coming off of that are moving through our area now. Now, as we look into what's happening here, you can see this little swirl here, north of Denton in the Sanger area, moving up towards Gainesville. Nothing dastardly or dangerous about that circulation. That's a mesoscale convective vortex, basically a little low pressure system that's kind of spun up here, moved to the north, and really kind of powered these storms eastward. And you noticed earlier today, I was saying right around 10 o'clock, well, it's 8:30 and they're already in our area, so that kind of gave it some extra push eastward instead of those training to the northeast. So that gave it some additional movement to the east, and now we see that first line is catching up to where we had that new convection, and it's looking like we're now going to recycle this line. So the new line will develop and take over for the first one. Not very uncommon for that to happen here. And a question, once these two lines coming into Waxahachie area converge, is that our only line for tonight? Well, let me say a couple of things. First, I think that this will be our last piece of convection, our last few storms for tonight. Now, early tomorrow morning, we will be on the back side of this low, and we will get wraparound moisture, I should say. And so I do think that we could easily see some showers, a few thunderstorms possibly. Models have been pointing to some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon as well. And it depends on how quickly or not this slow-moving storm system gets out of here. But the good news is that anything on the backside of the low, I don't expect to be severe. Just rain. So could be some showers, perhaps a clap of thunder or two on the backside of this, but that's really going to be the limit of what we are looking at there. Mike, yeah, so far there's really good rain, and the thing is, this really good rain could become a very big problem for some of you. We've had rain throughout the day, and so we're already well saturated across the area. Of course, we've had rain already this month and last month and really through the winter. So we're very well saturated right now, and the problem potentially is that as we get into the next few hours, if this rain does not move quickly enough, or if you get enough of the heavy rains going through your area, enough of that training over, or just a 1-2 punch of very heavy rain, you could be looking at some flooding problems. So if you're in a flood-prone area, just keep that in mind, that tonight we could be looking at some flooding issues, and possibly tomorrow as well, depending on how much rain we get in the morning. Nicole, yeah, so pretty much looking like this will be the only storms we get tonight. I can't say we won't get rain tonight, but as this low pressure system moves over us, we'll go from on the southern side, or on, well, the eastern side where the southerly winds are pulling in all this moisture. We'll get the wraparound moisture tomorrow, the northerly winds, and that will be just more rain. Should be more scattered, probably nothing like this. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Morgan saying, you're so happy you got a drainage system in your backyard a few weeks ago, or have a lake back there. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is there are plenty of places across north central Texas where the water just pools. My backyard is one of them. So that's kind of a problem that I'm sure I'll be dealing with tomorrow, and I'm sure the dogs will have zero interest in going outside to do their business in it. Ryan, please remember, if you see water that looks deep or is rushing around, don't drown. Yeah, so here's the thing. 1 inch of rain can lift 1 foot of rain is 1 inch or one. Now I'm exhausted this week. It's been a long day, and I'm gonna have to check myself here, because I just looked at this yesterday and now I'm getting myself all mixed up. The moral of the story, there is that what Ryan's trying to say, and what I'm trying to say, is that if you aren't sure how deep the water is where you're trying to go, yeah, so a mere 6 inches of fast-moving floodwater can knock over an adult. It takes just 12 inches of rushing water to carry away most cars, and 2 feet of rushing water can carry away SUVs. And that's coming from the National Weather Service. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at waters that are high wherever you're driving, turn around, don't drown. That phrase is important because, as it turns out, flooding is one of the most dangerous, if not probably the most costly, severe weather event that causes problems, because it's so underestimated. And we Texans, we get really confident in our trucks, right? In our vehicles, very confident drivers, sometimes far too confident. But you get out there, you think you know what you're doing, you go through it, and all of a sudden you're not driving anymore, you're floating, and you're going wherever the water wants to take you. Thank you, Dawn, for the Venmo donation. That is greatly, greatly appreciated. And let's see. How's it in Midlothian, Duncanville right now? So some heavy rain in the Midlothian area right now. Looks like it's going to be kind of calming down there in Duncanville. So Duncanville, you're on the backside of the heaviest of this. Pretty heavy rain moving through Midlothian, but that will be moving out soon. Excuse me. Well, there's a lightning strike. I'm really looking at the I-45 corridor at this point. Anything east of I-35 for where we're probably going to start seeing the stronger storms, because once we really fuse these two lines and really organize this line, that's the thing. They've come together, but they're not quite organized yet. So I'm curious to see what happens when they get organized east of I-35. So in Ferris, Palmer, Ennis, down to Blooming Grove, Dawson, Hubbard, getting into Navarro County here. So that's what I'm curious to see at this point, is what happens when this line gets organized. And we will, let me take a look at velocity, just take a look at the winds here. and not terribly impressive winds at this point. I mean, you can see the winds on that first line from Blum on up through Waxahachie, almost to Waxahachie, Oakleaf there. Wow. Okay. I was going to let the storm have a word. So there are gusty winds out there, not dangerous winds or anything like that, but we are looking at storms. And I have a feeling, let's see, this is always funny to me. Let's watch the numbers, because normally when a big lightning strike happens like that, right around this area, the viewership numbers start to jump. It's always fun to watch that correlation, right? And yeah, so as far as if this is going to be the only storm tonight, this should be the only storms tonight. There could be more rain. And then tomorrow morning looks like we will be looking at some rain as well, as we're on the back side of this low pressure system. All right, so yeah, the circle near Burleson, what you're looking at there, that is the radar site. Weather radar looks out, okay? So, you know, it turns for one, and that's how you're getting a 360-degree view of what's happening around the radar. It turns and it scans, but it's scanning at an angle. So it's not scanning straight up. So there's going to be an area immediately around the radar where it doesn't really see anything. And it scans, it goes around at this way, then around this way, then around this way, and then around this way. So it tilts. So it does it at multiple levels. That's how we see these storms. But yeah, here's the thing is it doesn't look straight up. So there's a small area around the radar tower where you don't see anything on radar. So that's what that empty disk is. Kelly, the Venmo, let me see if I can grab that very quickly and repost that here. Yeah, I can definitely hear the heavy rain here at the studio. Oh, Terry got it. Yeah, because the copy paste never works on this stream for some odd reason. I don't know what was happening there. Keela, yeah, you're staying in a camper in your driveway while your house is being repaired. Makes the storm scarier. Yeah, I can imagine that. You know, when you're looking at when you have these winds coming in and the lightning and thunder and everything, I'm sure that makes a storm much more of an experience when you're in one of those campers. Sarah, you're at work and it's so loud the building. Yeah, I'm sure especially if it's a metal roof, this rain gets very, very loud out there. Let me reiterate too, we got a lot of new folks joining in now, probably hearing these loud thunderclaps. We don't have any severe weather at this time. I think the worst that we could see right now is there might be some small hail in a couple of these storms. I would be surprised. I think right now we're looking mainly at frequent lightning and thunder and some heavy rain. Yeah, there's more lightning now. And I'm just looking out the studio here. So really hoping we can maintain power here. That would be fantastic. Yeah, Mercedes, well, that always happens. When you get a nice big lightning strike in a population center like Midlothian or Waxahachie or something, yeah, that that generally gets folks going, whoa, and then they tune in and see what's going on. And I don't blame you, because if I weren't in this position, that would be me. I would go on, hey, buddy, what's going on out there? So, but hey, at least this one waited until I ate dinner first. I actually got to eat before this. So a question, will it be a coffee or single Dr. Pepper night? So I'm really, 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 really hoping that I don't have to drink coffee tonight. I am exhausted. It's been a busy day. I've got some new duties that I've taken on during the day. And so I am zapped. How close was that? That close. Okay, so yeah, I'm zapped, and so I'm hoping that it's not a coffee night, because I would like to be able to wrap this up and just go pass out. Daniel, no tornadoes tonight. Not that we're seeing right now. I'd be very surprised. Not really much of a tornado setup tonight. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Vicky, about how long for them to roll through. They're moving through fairly quickly. And so, I'm thinking that we're not really going to be looking at anything too terrible. I'm going to check the Encore numbers here. And Kelly, thank you so much for the donation through Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. And I'm going to check power because I don't think there's much in terms of power outages. Per Encore right now, 0 in Ellis County, 0 in Hill, 0 in Johnson, and 0 in Navarro. So that's as of just around 10 minutes ago. So that'll update. We've had a few decent thunderclaps since then, so that could change. We'll see when that updates here in a few moments. Ernest, I'm not hearing any reports of hail. And Jordan, I get that you want to promote your tree company, but we do have an official sponsor, Liberty Tree Service, that sponsors South Metro Weather. So that's our recommendation for that tree work if needed. So we're not seeing any severe weather here. And again, just to reiterate, and the questions come up again, not looking at any kind of severe weather right now, not looking at a tornado setup right now. That's not really the environment we have going on at this point. Okay, hang on. Let me catch up on those in a second. We're mostly looking at heavy rain and it looks like some frequent lightning going on right now. But as I mentioned, I am waiting to see if this line is going to continue to intensify as we move forward. Now, got a couple of questions here. So lightning off Butcher Road. So that's near where I am. So yeah, I definitely heard that. I saw that. Nice. Okay, and Anna, please tell me where you are exactly on the radar. I guess I'm right around the H in Waxahachie. I think that's I think that's just about where I'm at. So that pretty well covers my location. If you were curious. Thank you, Kayla, for your donation through Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. So if we zoom in here on the heaviest part of this, right here in Waxahachie, and I'm watching to see what this does. Watching to see if this intensifies and continues to get organized. I will say this is the first pink I've seen in a minute here. And so actually, I guess I'm closer to here because that was fairly close. So I must be I know I'm between Waxahachie and Pecan Hill and Rockets right over here. So I'm probably somewhere in there. North Waxahachie had a power outage only for like 5 seconds. Yeah, so you're going to have kind of, power flickering, going in and out at times. Mine does that a lot. That's why we have these battery backups that will keep everything stable while the lights flicker and everything. It'll look weird for a second, but it'll keep the stream going. And if your video froze, you may just have to restart it. Your internet could be going in and out or something. Do you think the two areas of the storm in Waxahachie and Morgan will join together? Wondering if it will develop in Whitney. So we can zoom this out again a little bit and put this into motion here. It looks like that's what folks are looking for. And so the storms in Bosque County here, I don't know if they're necessarily going to join together. And we could have a continuation of a line here, but if we look west of Waco, go to the southern fringes of our area, very intense storm moving through Gatesville just now, moving towards McLennan County. So if you are in McLennan County here, southern Bosque County, very strong segment, very well organized segment. And again, you see this one more time, you see this mesoscale convective vortex here. This is like a little low pressure system that's developing here. So a lot of lightning in that storm as that moves eastward again towards Waco. So if you're in the Waco area, this is not severe warned right now, but it is a fairly intense storm. I would say this storm is probably moving somewhere in the ballpark of 25-30 miles per hour right now, moving at a pretty good clip. Just blasted through Gatesville, heading towards Hewitt, Waco, and Lacey, Lakeview there. Eventually moving through Killeen now down towards Temple, Bruceville, Eddy down that way as well. So this is a fairly intense storm, and I think that's where we're headed with this storm here. So if you're on that I-45 corridor, specifically Palmer, strong storm about to move in there, about to move into the Ennis area as well. And then in Hill County, because we've got some folks asking about that now. And thank you, Bill, for your donation through Venmo. We got some strong storms moving through Morgan right now, moving towards Whitney here. And so heavy thunderstorms, it looks like this line is not as well organized. So that's going to continue to move our way. And you can see the progress overall of this whole front here. So that's going to continue to move through. And generally, we're getting more organized as that comes in. What's interesting, and you'll get to see me geek out a little bit, is we have this southern motion of this kind of miniature front here, and then again near Hamilton and Gatesville we have this mesoscale convective vortex developing there. So that's number one. We just talked about this strong system moving towards the Waco area, and let me actually text a friend of mine, a cousin of mine actually, down in that area. If my phone will let me text the correct words. There's another clap out there. Let me catch up on the comments here. Man, it's really racing here. Thought the sky ripped open when the outage happened. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, it really can sound that way. It can sound like you're splitting the sky open when you have these thunderclaps. And really impressive stuff. Yeah, Brent Johnson, yeah, so that's a bow echo, so you're going to have some gusty winds, a lot of lightning in that one, could be some small hail there as well, moving right into the Waco area, and could be some hail in our area, but let's visit Waco for just a moment, the southern kind of edge of our particular area, because let's go ahead and shorten this loop here. So just blew through Gatesville, moving right into Oglesby and Crawford now. Going to be moving towards Moody, Hewitt, Waco, Golson here in the next several minutes. My buddy in Golson, if you're watching right now, but this continues to move eastward, and this will be a fairly intense line. Again, it's not severe warned right now, but it will be moving into Baylor Bear country very soon. So as that continues to push eastward, just be prepared to, get inside, get away from the storm, let it pass. Nothing severe at this moment, but it will make a statement. And of course, we do have new development ahead of that line here in McLennan County. So let's kind of zoom this out, if you will, and kind of give just a broad view of our area. Of course, Dallas up here, things are calming down up that way. Johnson County is generally on the back side of the heaviest of this, so not a whole lot going on in Johnson County at the moment. And Logan, you're asking about Dallas. Things are, if you're in East Dallas right now, from Ferris, really from Wilmer to Mesquite up into Rockwall. So a heavier segment there. Again, that is intensifying. So as that gets into Kaufman County, east over towards Rains County, that will be intensifying that way. But most of Dallas County is on the back side of this line, so not really looking at anything too intense there for tonight. Of course, Tarrant County, Johnson County, you're on the back side of this. So things will be calming down that way. And then, so storming in Red Oak, and I think that catches us up on questions here. Yeah, continuing to see lightning out there. Brandy, you've been a follower since the beginning. Well, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate that. Anything coming towards Rural Shade and Kearns, we're not quite there yet. So Navarro County, we can zoom in just briefly there to that area, and not much happening in Navarro County right now. You do have one shower headed towards the Frost and Blooming Grove area, but all this patchy light rain, not much to it right now. it's going to take a little bit for everything to move into Navarro County there. So that's what we're watching in that particular area. Nothing really happening right now. Ashley in Combine, yeah, it's going to be a little bit before it gets there as well. So from Dawson to Corsicana up to Gun Barrel City, Combine, Kaufman, going to be a minute before it gets there. And somebody mentioned Italy. Italy, you're on the very kind of tail end of this heavier line, but we could see more developing back to the west. So looks like back towards Itasca, looks like that's trying to get organized now. So eventually, and I don't know how well it's going to progress, honestly, it looks like it could be pretty rough when it's going through Navarro County here in the next, hour, couple hours or so. So we'll be watching that. But this line does appear to be trying to get more organized now. And it was more organized to the west. Right now it's kind of falling apart a little bit, and then it's reorganizing now. So we'll be watching that process. And you're asking about Palmer. It is about to get noisy there in Palmer, if it's not already. Heavy rain moving through that area. Nothing severe at this moment, but we do have that strong storm moving that way. So the Palmer's right there. You can see that storm moving in. So that's where we are watching in terms of where the strongest of this is. Yeah, Cleburne, it does look like Cleburne, things are generally calming down in the Cleburne area right now. So not a whole lot happening there. Hillsboro, just got a question about that. Yeah, looking in the Hillsboro area, it could get heavy here in the next several minutes. That section of the line is still trying to kind of get organized a little bit. And so as that continues to move eastward, really more southeastward at this point, Hillsboro could be getting some stronger storms here in the next several minutes. I know that someone's asking about, yeah, Claudia, the tornado risk is low tonight. Not really looking at a tornado setup right now. We're still watching these storms, watching them get organized. And so that's what we see right now. Strong storms headed towards the Ennis area. Not quite there yet, but you can see this moving east of I-35 there. And so that is continuing on towards Ennis. I'm just going to leave this in motion to kind of let you know how things are going relative to where you are. And go ahead and share the stream, if you will. If you just hopped on, make sure that you're sharing the stream, getting the word out there. And yeah, so raining really hard and thunder in Palmer. So yeah, the Palmer area, you're going to be getting this storm here. And if you're behind this line, that really should be it for the heavy stuff overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning, we will probably have some showers. It may be a wet drive to school and work, but it doesn't look like it's going to be strong storms or severe weather or anything like that tomorrow. We'll be on the backside of this system. Light, breezy north winds at times, but that should really pretty much be it. Okay, we're caught up on the donations, so we're good there. In case I miss anybody, thank you again to Bill, Kayla, Kelly, and Dawn for your Venmo donations. Greatly appreciated there. So let's broaden this out a little bit, because we continue to see this line, and really there's two things I want to point out, really three things. One, we're seeing this line get more organized from Greenville down to Rockwall there, down to Wilmer, into Palmer, and into parts of Waxahachie, moving towards Ennis now. In Hill County, this section of the storm is trying to get organized here. So from just north of Gulson there, through Hillsboro, up into the Itasca area, back into Bosque County, existing heavy conditions there, and then moving into McLennan County right now, and into the Temple area, a heavy storm in that area as well. So this is what we're seeing tonight. None of this is severe warned. We don't have any severe weather watches in place at this point. Several have asked about the tornado risk. The tornado risk is fairly low tonight. We can take a quick look at velocity just to check our bases, and yeah, I'm not seeing anything that has me immediately worried about tornadoes at the moment. None of this, to the trained eye, is really anything of a concern. And lights are starting to dim now, so I guess some of this rain might be playing havoc with the power supply here, but we'll see what happens. If the lights dim for a minute, the battery backups should keep the stream on. If the power outage persists, then we'll have to figure out a backup plan. But for right now, looks like everything will be fine. In the Palmer area, you're asking about hail. I would not be surprised to possibly see some light hail or small, not light hail, small hail, I should say. Could be some small hail in that area, but not anything of a severe nature, I don't believe. I think we'll be able to dodge that for the most part tonight. Yeah, plenty of heavy rain and lightning in the Rocket area for sure. And in the Palmer area, we will go ahead and zoom in here. So Palmer, you've got a nice little storm that's moving in there. Again, it's possible we could see some small let's see. Okay, yeah, so you could see some small hail from Palmer up to Ferris, and then south of Waxahachie, this little segment here moving towards Bardwell, Ennis, Garrett, could see some small hail there as well. There's going to be a lot of lift with these going on tonight, so could very well see some of that. Yes, Paul, you mentioned Energy Renovation Center, one of our sponsors as well. Thank you so much for the plug there. And thank you so much, Rocio, for the donation through the Cash App. I think that's the first Cash App donation we've got tonight. Hillsboro folks said, Hillsboro folks are grateful to you. Of course, I'll be working with Hillsboro in part for the eclipse that is coming up. I'll be doing some work with Waxahachie as well, and the Motorplex too. So all these different places that we're getting ready for this eclipse. Really hoping it's not like today. I'm really hoping that, if anything on the eclipse, this is not a forecast, this is just what I'm possibly hoping for, is either a completely clear day, or if we can't have that, because we tend to have a lot of humidity in the spring, let's have maybe some morning clouds that burn off around 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Pretty typical of April. So that could be the conditions too, but it's way too far away to look at any kind of forecast for the eclipse. I know that Pete Delkus will be throwing out his 14-day forecast come next week, but I'll be looking at 7 days, and I'm not going to start setting expectations way too far out. So we'll get to that point, but for right now, yeah, I'm not looking at any kind of eclipse forecast at the moment. Thank you, Bryce, for your donation through Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. And yeah, so Paul, I like your term, thunderation in Waxahachie. That's a great term. That's one way to put it, for sure. Waxahachie definitely getting hit with heavy rain right now. Same in Ferris. You got some lightning strikes there in Palmer. And then, like I said, this segment moving towards Garrett, Ennis, and Bardwell, that will be getting heavier as well. And yeah, these lights just keep dimming. We're not getting any kind of power outages. Let me see. Let's check Encore here. See if they have any updated information. So nothing new in Ellis or Hill. Same in Johnson. And yeah, I mean, same in Navarro. Well, one power outage in Navarro County. One customer reported power outage in Navarro, but that's the only one in the 4 counties. Now, McLennan County here, 0. But, that could easily change. We can look at Bosque County in our particular area. And let's see, 0 in Bosque. So not a lot of power outages. A lot of lightning, but not a lot of power outages reported here. So, I mean, there is that positive, right? We don't have a lot of power outages that are reported. So hopefully we can keep things that way. Got to keep the water going. Someone asked earlier, is it going to be a Dr. Pepper night or a coffee night? I'm hoping for neither. I'm hoping we can wrap this thing up and I can go pass out relatively soon here. I am exhausted. And we got one more day of the week tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll start looking at Sunday night, late Sunday night, early Monday morning. Could be our next chance for severe weather. And that could be more organized than what we're seeing tonight. Let's go ahead and zoom this out again. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. So first, of course, we have the line that's getting organized from Ellis County up into parts of Dallas and Kaufman and Rockwall. And then Hill County, that's where it's trying to get organized here. And you can see from Whitney down towards almost to Gulson there, moving towards West and Abbott. That line is getting organized there. And then a strong line moving into McLennan County here, west of Waco. So that's probably the most intense of what we're seeing in our particular area right now. So moving into western portions of McLennan County, it is intense down there. Lots of lightning, very heavy rain, could be some small hail and gusty winds in that too. But that's what we're watching in that area. Chris, someone sneezed, so some power outages in Ferris. I know the feeling. Let me put this into motion for you, but sometimes, I got something in my throat here. Sometimes it can really, really seem like, you look at the power lines wrong and the power will go out. So I get it. Allie, yeah, it's going to get rocky there for a minute, but fortunately it shouldn't be anything too terrible. Lots of water on the road on 77. Questions about hail. Not really looking at hail in Waxahachie at this point. Waxahachie's on the back side of this leading edge, so I think that Waxahachie will pretty well be clear. Mesquite getting heavy lightning and thunder shaking the house. Yeah, it's going to be pretty noisy as these storms are pushing through. The question of when will it hit Alma? Well, the thing is, it kind of depends on what this line does. If this line gets more organized, gets some more eastward momentum here, it could be in Alma within the half hour. But it doesn't look like it's going to be moving quite that quickly, so I'm just kind of waiting to see what this line does. If it gets organized and starts moving eastward, I would say in Alma it may be another hour or so. So it may be a bit of time before Alma, Rice, and eventually Corsicana get all of this. But again, it depends on all of this that's just starting to get organized as that continues to move eastward. That's kind of what we're looking at. My nose keeps itching here. I don't know what's going on there. And David, thank you so much for your donation through Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. Let me check some messages here. And there goes the baby. I'm assuming he's not necessarily agreeing with going to bed. I think that's what's happening there. So if you hear that, that's what's happening. So I'm hearing that Ferris has no power at this point. So let's check the Ellis County numbers again. So still saying 0 outages in Ferris. So not sure if that's just delayed or I'm not seeing anything indicating power outages in Ferris. But I mean, if you're in Ferris and seeing it, obviously that's going to trump anything the internet has on it. And those, I'm sure those Encore numbers take some time to get updated too. So, but yeah, multiple reports now of power outages in Ferris. And so just keep that in mind too. And I'm not sure, honestly, how much of Ferris is Encore versus how much might be on a cooperative or something of that sort. So that could be affecting that number as well. And we continue to see this section trying to get organized here in Hill County. And then again, we see this bow echo here, western McLennan County. So the Waco area, you're looking at a pretty heavy storm moving into that area. Probably going to be some increasing wind speeds there for sure. So just keep that in mind and be mindful of that. And so just Kimmy, you're saying you just came down 77. It was flooded. The inside lane was even flooded. So hearing some flood issues on 77 in Waxahachie. So let me see if I can reach out and get some information on that. Let me check on this. Okay. Yeah, so, 77 hearing there's some flooding issues there. So, Okay, we're going to check on that and see if we can get any more information about those flooding issues there, because we're getting multiple reports, and 77, of course, is a well-traveled road there. So if you're giving reports of flooding on 77, give me your location. Let me know where that flooding is occurring so that we can give folks more information there, a little bit more detail. So Kimmy, where were you? Were you in Waxahachie, or where were you driving where you saw that flooding? Because we definitely want to keep updated on that, let folks know where that's going on. So I'm going to start kind of checking some sources here. Yeah, I don't see anything at the moment, but I am seeing a lot of chatter about how much rain is falling in Ellis County. So yeah, the flooding issue is definitely a concern in Ellis County right now. So that's going to be, that's a growing concern, and I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of messaging around that today. But with all of that said, you know, that's you factor in the fact that we have very saturated ground. We've already had rain today, and so that had me concerned about the fact that we're going to have heavier rain and there could be flooding problems. So really, it looks like flooding is probably our main concern here, I think, out of all of this. So now west of Waco, not sure how much of a flooding problem this is, but strong winds moving in there, lots of lightning and thunder for that area as well. So that's kind of the concern there. Cody, if there's any hail, there could be some hail in these Ellis County storms. I'm not sure where you're asking about. Location is everything. So not really looking at a lot of hail tonight, but there could be some. Ellis, so once again, we're not looking at much of a tornado threat at this point. So not really looking at much of a chance there. The frost area, we could be looking at a hail threat in the frost area as as this line gets more organized. That's the key thing right now. We're watching to see how much this line is going to continue to organize itself and intensify as it continues on eastward. And again, this Waco storm, if anything, it looks like it could be weakening here as it gets closer to Waco. So hopefully that's the case, because it was fairly strong overall. And then we'll continue to watch all of this, of course. Ryan reiterating, yeah, if you come to water that looks deep and is rushing, turn around, don't drown. So yeah, if you see water that's, and you're not sure how deep it is, and you're not sure, absolutely sure that you can make it across it, turn around, find another way, because it doesn't take much at all it really doesn't take much at all to sweep that car away. As I tell the students when I go to these schools, what are your cars driving on? What are those tires full of? It's air. Same thing as your pool floaties, right? So those vehicles can be picked up, and we look at this: a foot to 2 feet of water can pick up a vehicle. Even 6 inches, if it's rapidly rushing, can pick up a vehicle. So dangerous situation there. Stephen, thank you so much for your donation through the Venmo. Greatly appreciated there. And Ellis, so you're asking if I ever get scared of storms. That's how I started out. When I was a child, I had crippling, debilitating storm anxiety, just terrible storm anxiety. And so I completely understand the storm anxiety. I mean, I was terrified. But learning more about them, learning how to be prepared, learning what to watch for, kind of helped me to feel better about being in the middle of storms. And of course, now I'm able to use that confidence to do this. And so, yeah, it's definitely understand definitely understand the anxiety and the fear there. And now I'm hearing from a source that there's There's several accidents from hydroplaning. Of course, you can expect that when there's rain like this going on, and most likely some flash flooding involved. So, yeah, it does sound like the flash flooding and the rain is affecting the roads out there. So definitely be very, very careful. My concern here is that Waxahachie, I feel like the eastward motion, the eastward progress of this system is now starting to slow down, because you're noticing that the heavier rain is just kind of hanging around Waxahachie and Ellis County here, picking up in Hill County. Obviously, heavy storms moving into McLennan County, and then heavy rain hanging around in Bosque County there as well. So we're looking at more of a heavy rain situation. Flooding is a growing concern. And if you're on the roads, please take your time. Please do not be bashful about taking your time, pulling over if you need to, whatever the case is, because it could very well save your life, or at least make things a lot less drastic. Okay, yeah, so now we have an update from Encore. 1,293 customers affected. So that's Ellis County, and we'll check Hill County again. 0 in Hill. And then we'll check, probably nothing in Navarro County yet. So yeah, just the one in Navarro County. But yeah, definitely an outage in Ellis County. It sounds like that's probably going to be the Ferris outage that we've been hearing about. So definitely some power outage problems in Ellis County right now. And I'm waiting for more word from that source. Yeah, Ryan. So yeah, and talking about the hydroplaning, and that's what we're hearing, is that there does seem to be a growing number of accidents related to hydroplaning out there. And yeah, I'm being reminded of another good one. So when this heavy rain comes through, especially if there's hail involved, that kind of thing, it's very tempting to stop under an overpass. And that is a terrible, terrible thing to do. It may seem convenient at the time, but you have to think outside yourself for just a moment and realize that you're then impeding emergency response to some of these hydroplaning accidents, some of these high water rescues that may be going on, these different situations where these storms are causing situations to happen. If you are parked under an overpass, EMS, fire rescue, they cannot get through. And so you have to leave those roadways open. So Caitlin posting a little bit of a story here. I did a driving no-no a couple of weeks ago, got scared of driving on 45, so on the service road back to NS, almost got taken by the water on the service road in Palmer. Apparently it's a common spot on the service road in Palmer for flooding, because when you pass it later today, it was closed off. So yeah, it's one of those things where you think, oh, I'll just drive really fast through it. That doesn't work, because if you, even when you go through one of the smaller puddles that just throws the water on the side of the road, when you hit it, you slow down significantly. If it's enough water to sweep the car away, it's going to slow you down whether you like it or not, and it could very well sweep you away and take you away. So it's a dangerous situation you have to take seriously, and yeah, when you make that kind of mistake and you have a close call like that, that will wake you up. For sure. The other thing I haven't mentioned yet too is if you're on Facebook watching the Facebook stream, jump over to YouTube. Find us at South Metro Weather there on YouTube. I'm told, and I've actually really tried it myself and seen, that the quality of the video is much better than what is on Facebook. It's just so much better. So it really does make a difference there. But yeah, we're going to continue to watch these storms. Looks like in Kaufman County now, that line is really starting to intensify. But my concern is that we are getting this rain starting to train over the same areas. That eastward progress has slowed. And so now we just have heavy rain moving through Hill and Ellis counties here fairly slowly. And all of that will be moving into Navarro County, of course, in the next hour or so. And in McLennan County right now, seems like this is weakening a little bit as it continues eastward. So we might be seeing that storm starting to lose some of that intensity, which is good news for the Waco area. But that will be crossing 35 here too. So if you're on the highway, and this is pretty much right down 35 in Ellis County going into Hillsboro, and then south of Hillsboro down towards Waco. So if you're on the highway and you can't see the car in front of you and you don't feel like you're securely on the road, pull over, give it some time, let things lighten up, take some patience, and it will really, really help. What do you think of a third chance third line starting in the Glen Rose area? I mean, what we're seeing there, I mean, we're seeing the backside of this. So I really think that the air is going to be more stable behind this line. So you could have some more rain in that area. Certainly some spottier rain happening from Hamilton to Comanche and Stephenville, but not a severe line, not the intense storms that we see here. Of course, none of this is severe warned at this time, but yeah, I mean, you're definitely looking at the possibility, at least, of seeing some more rain behind the line. And you can see where the drier air is behind all of this, from Granbury to Glen Rose down to Hamilton. Of course, like I said, there's some spottier rain there, but for the most part, everything is pretty well calming down in that area. Ryan, I don't necessarily know. I mean, I guess it technically could be a dry line. It's drier air. I don't know if it necessarily, if that qualifies as the dry line, but it's, yeah, you have drier air, a drier slot, drier air being pulled up. This is a low pressure system. Let's go back to, let's kind of zoom this out again, and we'll talk about the scale of this thing. You can see that it's all rotating around this low pressure system. This is that same low pressure system that we've been watching that was camped out in the desert Southwest for the longest time. Let me move that over a little bit. But you can see that it's all moving this way, and you have drier air. Now, granted, you have these storms near Brownwood, just kind of this little cluster by itself, but you have drier air that's getting pulled in behind all of this. So that's what is pushing the drier air and pushing all of this out, and will eventually dry you out overnight. Now, you see Wichita Falls here. You see this wraparound circulation, this wraparound moisture here. So as that moves across, if it keeps this track, it may stay most of the rain may stay north of us. But Friday morning, tomorrow morning, we could see a few showers moving through. I don't think we see anything severe, but on the backside of it, could see some moisture there as that pushes eastward. And then the weekend, at least most of the weekend, looks dry. Saturday's dry, Sunday during the day looks dry, and then Sunday night into Monday morning, another chance of storms, possibly a more organized line. I mean, you can see this is pretty well organized now, but a more organized line moving in from the northwest, moving through our area, could be strong to severe then too. So let me answer some questions. Alexis, no tornadoes right now. Yeah, Brittany saying it took you almost 2 hours to get home from Arlington tonight. Couldn't see 2 feet in front of you. Yeah, this is, if nothing else, this is a blinding rain, which is not helpful at night. So you definitely just have to be patient, use your patience there, and take care of business, take care of yourself. Okay, I think we are, we're all caught up on Venmo and Cash App and all that good stuff. So, Ryan, the storm didn't start very organized. Here's the thing, though. We had that first line that moved in from the west, and we had some new development ahead of it. This is what commonly happens with these lines. You'll have the first line that comes in. You have new convection ahead of it. That kind of cuts off the new moisture. So the first line kind of dies out. The second line then starts to intensify, especially as the lift encounters it. So what we're seeing now is this line, this storm, this system, is getting recycled here. So that's why you're noticing between Waco and Dallas here, this new line kind of getting organized. So all of this is a new line that's taking over here for the original line. Sometimes it takes an hour or two to reorganize and get going, but we will see this intensify and move east of our area and get more organized as it goes. So that's just the life cycle of a line like this when you have one line that recycles into the other. Alexa got the lawn chair set up. Well, you want to be inside as these storms are moving through. A lot of lightning going through. Megan, no tornadoes. Somebody asking about the Joplin tornadoes. I don't know what that has to do with. Somebody asking if we're capable of getting a major tornado like El Reno, Moore, and Joplin. We're definitely capable of that in Texas. Gerald, Texas is the prime example. That it was a major tornado. So yes, I mean we can have those. Obviously, we're not looking at that tonight. But Ellis, nothing. I mean, you're asking if there's anything bad in Waxahachie. Waxahachie should be calming down. I'm in Waxahachie, and I don't really hear any rain outside, so things are calming down in Waxahachie for now. So should be kind of calming down for the night. And yeah, Jessica, pouring rain. Yeah, so wherever you are, that's definitely moving through. So you can see again, and we'll zoom in on this a little bit more. You can definitely see this line getting much more organized here. So as this gets east of our area, well, really, we have to watch Navarro County now, but as this continues to get more organized and pushed eastward, we could very well see increasing winds. I would say in Kaufman County right now, this is fairly well organized from Greenville down to Kaufman. So that area is probably where you're going to see some small hail, gusty winds, that kind of thing moving in. So I think that's where we're going to be seeing the focus of the more intense activity. All of this in McLennan County looks like that has fairly well calmed down. Still some heavy rain there, but in the McLennan County, things are kind of calming down just a little bit. So Brittany, yeah, to reiterate, we do have dry air moving in. And that is it in terms of storms for tonight. But again, overnight, late tonight, early tomorrow morning, could be some more rain on the back side of this system, but that won't be severe. That won't be strong storms or anything like that. At least that's not what it looks like. It looks like more just looking at some, again, northerly flow. So cooler air, drier air coming in, but could be some wraparound moisture on the back side of this system for tomorrow morning. So Mike, you're asking where the low was, where the low is that was over the desert southwest. You're looking at it. I mean, you can see the circulation here. You can see Wichita Falls. It's curling back around. This is the low. This is the low pressure system that was entrenched over the desert southwest. That is what's pushing these storms through. Yeah, so moving over Bardwell Lake right now, so heavier rain there, moving into Ennis there as well. Ellis, okay, you're asking about bad rain tomorrow. It's going to be rain. I don't imagine it's not going to be like tonight. So not really looking at anything too intense tomorrow morning. Looks like it's just rain for tomorrow morning's activity. But we are looking at this line becoming more organized. So for Navarro County here, parts of Hill County, we will be watching to see what happens in those areas as this line continues to pick up steam. So if you're in Navarro County, you'll want to be watching and paying attention to this because we could very well get some more intense activity over the next several minutes here. I want to look and let me just check. Let me just get caught up on a couple of things here. And not seeing any lightning there. No circulation in Waxahachie right now. We have not. We keep getting questions about tornadoes. Understand that there's no tornadoes right now. We haven't had a history of that tonight. We're not looking at any kind of rotation or anything in any of these areas. I mean, we can check that, but we're just not looking at any tornadoes tonight. I would be very shocked. Yeah, we're not looking at any kind of rotation or anything. We just don't have that kind of setup. So not looking at any tornado activity in our area tonight. If there is, I will be sure to let you know. But for the moment, not looking at any kind of rotation or any kind of tornadic activity across our area. So this line stretching from Hewitt, Waco, up to West and Abbott, Hillsboro, up to Italy and Palmer into the Ennis area. And again, the strongest part of this is moving into the Kaufman area right now. And Rocio, you're saying that the wind's picked up, your stress level is high. These are not, we don't have any damaging winds at the moment that I can see. Certainly no tornadoes. So there's going to be some gusty winds with these storms, but we're not looking at any kind of damaging weather at this point. Nothing is severe warned, no severe watches or anything like that. But there could be some gusty winds to go along with the very heavy rain, frequent lightning and thunder, and that kind of thing. Now, as I said, we will be watching this line. Now that it's more organized, I want to see if we start getting some of those bowing segments. I want to see if we start picking up some of the intensity of these storms like we have in the Kaufman area. We could be looking at some small hail there. I don't think we're seeing any hail between Bardwell and Ennis right now. It's possible. We do have this kind of darker area developing there, so you could see some small hail falling out of that, but I'm thinking it's fairly unlikely at this point. A lot of this is still working to get organized, so I'd be surprised if the updrafts were that mature at this point. But yeah, not really looking at anything probably hail-like in that particular area for the moment here. And let's get just a good broad frame here and put this into motion. And as you can see again in these last few frames, definitely more organization. And as we go through tonight, the biggest concern really at this point is it looks like it's going to continue to be the concern of the flooding issues. That's kind of what I'm more. That's what I want to press at this point. Is really the flooding problems. I think is going to be the most problematic aspect of this. Megan, how fast is moving this line? We have a puppy that needs to go out soon. Megan, I'm not sure where you are, so I don't really know how to advise you here. That could have a variety of answers depending on your location. But the heaviest rain is moving fairly quickly. I would say 20, 25, maybe 30 miles per hour here, moving eastward. Now, the problem is, again, we had eastward progression of all of this, but if you look at this from Waxahachie down to Hillsborough and really starting to maybe kind of take on this train in Waco, it's not moving as quickly east. We're starting to get this heavier rain kind of sitting in the same places or training over the same places for a longer period of time. And so that is what's causing some of these flood problems. And just got a really good lightning strike out. That's the first one I've seen in a minute. So we could be looking at that intensifying there. Yeah, thunder and rice, that's no surprise. I mean, considering that we are looking at moving that direction. Right now, just heavy rain in Italy, nothing severe, really nothing severe anywhere right now. We don't have any warnings. And so just a situation of seeing plenty of heavy rain moving through the Italy area, really everywhere from Waco to Hillsborough to Italy and Ennis on up to Kaufman. I remind you, there could be some small hail mixed in with all of this. I'd be surprised if there's small hail in Ellis or Hill counties right now, just because this is all freshly organized. I don't think some of these updrafts have quite had the opportunity to really mature and get to that intensity yet. We can look at some echo tops here. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. So near Kaufman there, some higher tops there, but the rest of this area, just not looking at echo tops that are really, really impressive. So not terribly concerned about hail at this point. Really the flooding is going to be the biggest problem, I think, for this area. That seems to be the biggest concern, what's causing the most issues for our area right now. So if you are in a flood-prone area and these rains are heading your way, you definitely want to be careful with that. Now, I've got a question about the weekend, so I'll reiterate that we're looking at a nice weekend, a dry weekend for the most part. Our next chance of rain arrives Sunday night into early Monday morning. That could be a more organized squall line. This is basically a squall line. It's not really doing much, but a much better organized, faster moving squall line moving through could bring some severe weather to our area. So that is something to keep in mind as we get closer to Sunday. So Sunday night could be our next chance for severe weather. And almost 1,300 power outages reported in Ellis County. Again, that's probably that Ferris area outage, if I had to guess. Might be some in areas outside of that too, but that seems to be the one that we've had reports of. And let me just check nearby nothing in Hill County, and of course nothing in Navarro, and nothing in McLennan County too. So really Ellis County, as far as our area, is the only one reporting a lot of outages. We'll check Kaufman County here, but nothing in Kaufman County at this point. So when it comes to power outages, sounds like it's pretty localized for that particular area. Get into a drink of water here. So we're really kind of in a wait and see period right now, where we have a more organized line, but it's really not as intense. I'm curious to see what it does as it starts to move into Navarro County, starting to move towards Frost and Blooming Grove now. So that will continue to move eastward into the Navarro County area. Shelby saying the lights are flickering in at her apartment in Ennis right now. So it could be some lights going on and off there. And I think I'm going to have to. Got a kitty here who's just. Okay, I think you're going to have to. You're going to be hungry soon. So why don't you go on out there, slither out the door there. I don't know why that was necessary. All right. Okay. Yeah. Good. Clearing out the spot where I'm going to need to work in a minute. Jason, thank you so much for the donation through Venmo. Greatly appreciate that. Had a close strike outside of Hillsborough on 171. Lost lights for a few seconds. So there's been a lot of lightning out there tonight. Lots of prolific lightning strikes that we've seen. So you always want to respect the lightning, just like we're talking about with the floodwaters. Lightning is incredibly dangerous, and people just don't seem to give it the kind of space that it deserves. But lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm, and people think I'm crazy with that statistic, but it's true, and you want to take lightning seriously. So just bear in mind that when you're dealing with a lightning situation, especially this frequent lightning like we've had tonight, you want to give these storms plenty of space. You got to give them the respect and the space that they deserve, because they can be very, very dangerous out there. Sonny, thank you so much for your kind words there. I greatly appreciate that. Okay, just checking a couple of other spots here, and yeah, this again with the power outages in Ellis County, still looking at just under 1,300 customers affected per Encore in Ellis County. So that's what that looks like right now. I keep having to check right here. I keep seeing I feel like I'm seeing a bug or something, but maybe seeing something in the corner of my eye that's not there. I don't know. So not much happening at the moment. We've had reports of flooding in the on 77 through presumably Waxahachie, and flooding continues to be a concern of mine. And we have the heavy rain just starting to move out of Hillsborough, moving into, really it's starting to pick up in intensity here from Lacey Lakeview down to Waco and Hewitt. Moving into West and Abbott there. So that's going to continue on to the east. Rain and winds just started in Robinson, so down in McLennan County right now. So that's going to be the area where it's starting to get organized there as well. So this line, again, we've been watching this evolve over the past, hour here. Watching this evolve, watching this get more organized, and it's only going to continue to get more organized. So really, Navarro County could see some stronger storms if this continues to organize and intensify there. So let me take a peek here. Okay. So if you have not already, and I try to stay on top of this housekeeping stuff, but make sure that you share the stream, hit the like button and all that crazy stuff, right? And if you're on Facebook, again, I recommend going over to the YouTube channel to take a moment, check out the YouTube stream, because I'm told that it is a much, much better quality. I've heard that many times. So Facebook tends to compress all of their, their stuff, and yeah, so that's kind of the situation there. Now you see the drier air starting to prevail in Johnson County here, starting to dry out some of this rain. So we do have drier air behind all of this that is moving our way, and you can see it moving into Bosque County now. So it will be pushing all of this out. So we do dry out behind all of this. As I mentioned before, tomorrow morning we could be looking at some more rain earlier in the day, but for the most part, I think we'll be able to, I think most of us stay dry tomorrow morning. I don't think all of us get rain. I think most of the rain will probably be north of us, but there will be a few showers here and there, so it could be a little bit of rain as you're taking the kids to school and heading off to work. So just keep that in mind too. We'll zoom this out a little bit, kind of get a broader view of what's happening across the state. And we have this little cluster, I don't know how long that's going to last, out near Brownwood, that little cluster of storms, but this is definitely most of what we're watching here from Paris down to Greenville, to Kaufman to Waxahachie, really Ennis now, down to Hillsborough and Waco, towards Marlin, down to Cameron. So this is the line. And that low pressure system that we've been watching for about a week now, seems like, this is the low pressure system. It's in our area. That's what's pushing these storms through. And of course, this was the one that's been camped out in the desert Southwest for so long and sent all of the rain last week. Well, it's finally dislodged from its position out there, moving across our area. So tonight's storms are what we're seeing on the eastern side of the storm system. Will be on the west side of it, the backside tomorrow, and could get some of this wraparound rain. So that's what we'll be watching tomorrow. And as I mentioned, Sunday night, early Monday morning, could be another complex of storms. Could be a more organized complex of storms. Could be some severe weather with that. So we'll have to watch that here. It's interesting what the Storm Prediction Center has done. For Sunday, they have the severe threat out in the Panhandle, and then Monday they have it way east of us. So nothing in between. I'm not sure if they expect everything to weaken as it moves through our area before it strengthens again to our east, but we will continue to monitor that. And the Storm Prediction Center, their maps can change. I've seen them change 3 times in a day. So you can't always go off of those, but the general forecast is that we should have a round of storms coming in during the day on, during the nighttime hours of Saturday night into Monday here. Okay, just checking a couple of things here. Let me go ahead and put this down here. Let me just a couple of things on the phone here. If I can get this to cooperate with me. Not sure what's happening there. Trying to get the best view. Okay, there we go. Trying to get the best view on this thing. So this is where we're at, and it does look like we're seeing this line intensifying. I'm seeing more lightning out the window here, and I feel like we're starting to maybe see a little bit more lightning in parts of Ellis County here. So Ellis County, Hill County, move this up just a hair. Of course, this is our core area. Down in McLennan County, it's heavy rain there too, but we are seeing the drier air behind this starting to catch up to it. So that will help to push this eastward. Now, as it does, this will pick up steam. Probably going to see some increasing winds there as this gets into the Navarro County area. So you can see it starting to kind of intensify from Italy down to west. So that will be worth watching, and it's just moving into the frost area, moving towards Blooming Grove, going to be moving towards Hubbard and Malone, Mount Calm. So that area too, in parts of Hill County. And Bruce, I think you're on the wrong live stream here. I think that's a question that isn't really relevant. So I don't know what's going on with that, but we're not talking about politics here. No place here at South Metro Weather, because it's just all it does is divide, and we've got important information to share. So this isn't really the place for it, unfortunately. And asking about the Waco area. So let's take a look at that. No, that's not fun. There we go. Okay. It I thought I lost the radar there for a second. So moving through the Waco area, that's moving eastward. So in Waco, you're getting hit with it now, and then that will be moving out, and you have some rain behind it, but the heaviest of that will be moving east of Waco fairly quickly, moving eventually towards Marlin and Hubbard and Groesbeck, eventually towards Wortham and Mejia. But the Waco area the heaviest is moving through now and will be moving eastward of that area very soon. And let me just check one more thing here. Because I have a lot of the comments that are duplicated. I'm trying to make sure we're not missing anything here. Devin, you're asking how long it's going to go on, and as I would say the next half hour or so maybe. I don't expect it to be terribly long because we are starting to get more easterly motion here. There was a moment where it slowed down, and that was causing some flooding issues because we had a lot of this heavy rain that was just kind of hanging around. And then as that continues to move towards southern portions of Hill County into Navarro County now, looks like we could start getting more easterly motion on this again. So that'll start moving things out quicker, should start to kind of reduce that flood threat. But I think we will see that activity in Ennis. Not anything too terrible in Ennis at the moment, but it'll continue to be there for probably the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. And I think after that, it should mostly be clearing out. And right around Gunbarrel City there, you see that little blip, and who knows, we could see more development trying to recycle that line. It's just, these things do that. They recycle and they recycle. That's how you can see these, where it seems like a storm system or a line of storms like this just covers multiple counties or multiple states. That's usually what's happening, is because it's recycling there. Everything weakens and then it intensifies, and then it weakens and intensifies. Now, Renee, you're asking about M-House. So not much I can say about Corsicana and Navarro County at the moment. Okay. All right, so Gunbarrel City hearing thunder. You got that nice little storm that's popped up there, and that will move on to the northwest and then northeast rather. And you have this line that's moving through. So would not mind if the heavy rain would sow the rice. Yard looks like a jungle rice, and mine does too. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I love my electronic mower. Love it. Great. Fantastic. The problem is that somehow or another, the charger for the battery is gone. Can't find it. Not sure what happened there. Not sure why. It's one of the things. That's one of the things in this house that is usually in the same spot all the time. I think I used it in another spot once. And I think my son, who has an affinity, the youngest, who has an affinity for hiding things, or relocating things, I should say, may well have been the culprit in locating that somewhere. I haven't been able to find it yet. So yeah, my yard is a mess because I can't mow it. Can't charge the battery for it. So I love the battery operated mower. Don't have to deal with gas and all that kind of stuff, but really stinks when you can't find the charger there. Joshua Cox, you're asking, is this line it for the night, if we're going to get more in the morning? So this line should be it as far as the thunderstorm activity, and it does look like we have drier air moving in, and so that should take over overnight. Behind this line, this line is bringing heavy rain, but behind this line we should get a bit of a break here, and then going ahead from there, tomorrow morning, yes, we could see a few more showers. Not looking at anything severe, not looking really, I don't think we're going to see much more than just a few showers tomorrow morning. It could be a rumble of thunder or two, I guess, but probably more just rain tomorrow morning. On the back side of this low pressure system that's coming through, we'll see some wraparound moisture and that kind of thing. So we could see showers in the morning, but not terribly likely. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a quick break. We're just under an hour and a half in here. I'm going to take a quick break, just step away, and we'll be right back with continuing coverage as we see these storms starting to move into Navarro County here. I want to watch these and just make sure that we don't have this line intensifying and possibly becoming severe as that moves into Navarro County. Right back with continuing coverage. Okay, I think we have an issue where, because it seems like when I come back from I have to figure that out because it seems like when I come back from that waiting graphic, it's defaulting to the wrong mic. So we're going to have to figure that out. Not sure what's happening there. It had quite a lightning strike out the window just now, and that's on some of the backside of this. And so, but here in Navarro County, or excuse me, Hill County moving into Navarro County, between Hillsborough and Hubbard there, seeing some intensification there of all of that activity, and this continues to move into Navarro County. The chief issue we've had so far this evening has been it's been the flooding that we've seen. We've heard multiple reports on 77 and Waxahachie, some major flooding there. So a lot of heavy rain, and that is causing some of those problems. And somebody called me a boomer in the comments. Trust me, not as old as you think I am. But all of this continues to move on to the east here, and we do have drier air that's coming in. You can see that the dry air is starting to dry out some of this following moisture here over in Cleburne. So there will be dry air filtering in behind all of this later tonight. Early tomorrow morning, we could see more rain on the back side of this system. And if you're just joining us, let me zoom out and kind of show you the context of what we're dealing with here. This is the low pressure system that we have been watching for the last several days. It was camped out in the desert southwest, sent us all the rain last week, Thursday and Friday of last week. And now it's pushing this line through, and then tomorrow we could be getting some wraparound moisture. You see like that in Wichita Falls. Could see some wraparound moisture as we're on the backside of this system. We'll have north winds tomorrow. But other than that, we're pretty calm until Sunday night, early Monday morning. That's when our next chance of storms comes through, and could see some severe weather with that complex as well. So that will be worth watching, excuse me, as we go forward. But we've been watching this line, and of course earlier tonight we saw one line come in, and then we saw some new development ahead of it. Turned out that new development took over and recycled the old line so that we had a second line moving through. And that's what we've been watching. We've been seeing this whole system get reorganized. In McLennan County here, we saw that kind of get recycled there. Looks like that is intensifying there as well. And hearing something about no sound on YouTube. I don't know how to control the sound on a specific platform, but I would say that you may just have to check on YouTube. Sometimes it's going to default to the sound being off. Let me check. Check and see what we've got going on here. Yeah, so I've got sound on my YouTube feed. So I think, Claudia, I think that might be, you may have to check that. It may have defaulted to a muted position or something. But yeah, the sound was, when I go back from the break screen, somehow it's defaulting to the wrong mic on OBS here. I'm not really sure what's happening there, but weird. But that's continuing to move into Navarro County here, and we'll see that little area there too. But yeah, moving into Freestone and Limestone County eventually, east of Waco there, another line. So you're asking what time will it hit Corsicana? Well, it's moving that way, and I would say it's going to be in the Corsicana area here in the next 10-15 minutes maybe, because we're getting more eastward, kind of southeastward progression there. There for a minute it slowed down and all the heavy rain was starting to pile up, so that's what caused some of those flooding problems. But it is a positive sign now, that now we're seeing the eastward progression picking up, so maybe that can mitigate some of those flood problems. Now, we're already well saturated. We've had a lot of rain through the winter, and then through the last couple of weeks we've had a lot of rain, so we're well saturated. So flooding could be a problem just about anywhere, but if you're in a flood prone area in Navarro County where all of this is moving in, definitely keep that in mind, because odds are you could be looking at some of those flood problems as we go forward through the rest of the evening. Elizabeth, yeah, just hit Rice, and we still have no severe weather. Let me make that clear. No severe warnings right now, no severe watches or anything of that sort. So we do have that working for us at least. No severe weather going on right now, no watches, warnings, anything. So could be some small hail in parts of Hill County right now. Could be some small hail in Kaufman County, but this area here moving into Rice and Blooming Grove, that area, not really seeing a whole lot. So this will continue to move into Navarro County, moving into the Rice-Alma area now. Heavy rain and frost per Cody. Thank you for that report. Blooming Grove, going to be moving towards Malone and Hubbard and Mertens there. So that's going to continue to move on to the southeast. And then, yeah, we're going to be dealing with heavy rain moving through Navarro County. But my hope is that we will continue to see that pick up. And now in southern Kaufman County, you see this starting to pop up. So that could be a new line getting ready to recycle this section of the line too. We've seen that already once tonight. And sometimes that's how these lines seem to go across a lot of areas. And Alvaro, you're asking how fast it's moving. I would guess we're probably looking at 20 to 30 miles per hour, roughly. So this is going to continue to move eastward, but you see it's not a thick line. It's not a very, not going to be around too terribly long, and we do have that dry air that's starting to catch up. So this is not going to be too long an event. And Hannah, yes, to reiterate, we are looking at some showers possible tomorrow. Not widespread rain, I don't think, but we will have some showers in the area tomorrow morning, or we're expected to. And then tomorrow afternoon, some models are hinting that some thunderstorms are possible. I'm going to be checking that. More on that in the morning. But right now, we're just looking at morning rain as we're on the back side of this system tomorrow. Could get some wraparound moisture. So that's kind of what we're looking for there. And so these showers and thunderstorms will continue on. Could be looking at some heavier activity now as this continues to move towards Corsicana. So just bear in mind, could be some gusty winds on the front end of this, but the main thing is just going to be the heavy rain, frequent lightning and thunder. But once it moves in, it's not going to be around too terribly long. It is moving faster now, more displacement here instead of rain just kind of sitting over the same areas. And then, yeah, you have that dry air filtering into parts of Hill and Johnson County, part of Ellis County there, and that will continue to dry us out as we go through the rest of the evening. I just want to check a couple of sources here. Let me see. Okay, nothing there either. All right, cool. Okay, and then thank you, Nicole, for the message there, letting us know that the YouTube sound is fine. Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on there with the YouTube audio issue, but really it looks like that was probably something isolated. Again, something defaulting. That's what happened on my end, that the sound wasn't going anywhere initially. But yeah, I think we're good to go there now. So this is what we've got. I mean, you know, it's pretty straightforward at this point. Much easier to see. We had that situation, or we had the setup where it was much more disorganized, hard to see where things were going. Of course, south of our area here, much heavier activity, moving very quickly to the east. So Groesbeck, Mejia, Wortham, could be some strong winds as this continues to quickly move off to the east. Less intense for Hill and Navarro counties here. So just allow those storms to move through. Shouldn't really be a whole lot to them as they do move through. And then, hey, we're done for the night once we get those through. Again, tomorrow we could be looking at some wraparound showers tomorrow morning. Could be a little bit soggy for the drive to school, drive to work. But hey, I mean, we can't really argue with just a few showers out there. At least we're not looking at anything like what we see tonight in our area at that point. So Brittany, yeah, so rain starting there in Alma and Rice. Thank you for that report. And then, yes, that is moving towards the Corsicana area. So if you're in Corsicana, let's zoom in on Navarro County here. So heavy rain in Blooming Grove right now, just about to move into Dawson, Oak Valley, Corsicana, moving into Rice there. Will be continuing on. Eventually that will move into Kearns and Richland and Wortham there, eventually towards Trinidad. So yeah, this is going to continue to move on to the east through Navarro County over the next several minutes. But nothing severe, nothing too terribly intense here. Just a quick shot of heavy rain here, and then we will. Yeah. So somebody just asked about Dawson. Yeah, as far as what we're seeing right now for the Dawson area, showers, thunderstorms. There will be some pretty wicked lightning strikes, and we've been seeing them. So lightning, thunder, heavy rain moving through, but nothing severe, at least not at this point for that area. We're just past 10 o'clock. I'm glad well, I'm about to say that. I was about to say I'm glad the clock here automatically adjusted, but it is too far over, and it keeps defaulting to the wrong location. And it keeps moving too far to the right, and I don't understand why. There we go. Okay, had to make a little adjustment there. It drives me crazy when the clock is too far that way. It's just, yeah, okay, that looks better. That was driving me nuts. Little pet peeves there that we have to address. But this is what's moving through Navarro County right now. We're going to go ahead and pause this just so you can kind of see what's happening where you are located. So heavy rain moving into Hubbard and Dawson there. Will be calming down in Blooming Grove pretty soon, but Oak Valley, Corsicana, going to be moving in that way, and then eventually towards Kearns and Richland Chambers Lake there as well. So this will move across Navarro County, but it's not going to be around terribly long. But just understand that there could be some pretty intense lightning strikes through this storm. Brief shot of heavy rain, but it is moving fairly quickly. I would say 25 to 30 miles per hour here. Moving fairly quickly, pushing eastward, southeastward really. And as it continues to do so, I'm not thinking we're looking at anything too intense here. If we were going to see severe weather, I think we probably would have seen it already, at least at this point, because we've had time for those storms to pick up their intensity, to get organized, and I think they've kind of hit a limit here. So as they move through Navarro County, and we should get a radar update here in just a few minutes here, I'm not expecting a whole lot in terms of severe weather. Now we can check a couple of things here. Zoom out a little bit. We'll check the velocity. So you might have some gusty winds just as this is coming through. If nothing else, you'll feel the wind shift, but not looking at anything too severe necessarily. And we look at the VIL, the vertically integrated liquid, for hail indications, and not really looking at that right now. So not really a factor in terms of what we are seeing. Now let's get back to reflectivity here. And I'm happy about this, about the fact that it's 10 o'clock right now, and this is almost all the way through our area. So I will happily hopefully and happily be in bed by 11. That would be fantastic. Get up in the morning, get the kiddo to school, and do the few things I got to do tomorrow. Start working on this weekend forecast, because yes, we do have some showers possible tomorrow, but as I've mentioned, Sunday night into early Monday morning, that's when we're looking at our next chance for storms. Could be some severe weather then. Really almost looks like we have a higher likelihood of severe weather then than we had tonight. More organized activity, fast moving squall line. So looks like that could be a severe weather event for our area that night. But we'll have more on that excuse me, as we go forward. In fact, I'm curious to see what the Storm Prediction Center has put out there, see if they've done anything new for Sunday. Not likely there. Brittany, thank you so much for the donation through the Cash App. That is greatly appreciated there. Yeah, not much change from the Storm Prediction Center in terms of those severe threats. Of course, like I mentioned before, the Storm Prediction Center changes those maps. I've seen them change 3 times in a day. So I don't really go off a lot. They're great visual support, especially day of on a severe weather event. The day before is a general idea. The day before that is just, hey, pay attention. But when it comes to those Storm Prediction Center maps that people put so much stock into, sometimes they're great, sometimes they're meh. We'll see what happens getting into Sunday night. But what you need to remember is Sunday night, Monday morning, another chance of severe weather, so you'll want to make sure that you're watching. So getting into Corsicana here, we've got a little pocket of heavier rain there. There could be some heavier rain, small hail there briefly, but not really expecting much. Josh, yeah, things are calming down for the Ennis area, and some rain behind all of this. Dry air will be filtering in later, though. So Ennis is done with the heavy activity for tonight. Just some lingering rain behind all of this activity. So that's the good news is once you're behind this line, you're done until early tomorrow morning when we could have a few spotty showers, a few scattered showers, but not much. So as far as the storms are concerned, we're done with those for a few days. Only for a few days, though. It is spring, so we will be watching for those other opportunities for strong to severe weather out there. And in the Hubbard Mount Calm area, southern Hill County, it looks like we're getting those pink pockets there. So heavier rain developing there. Could be some small hail involved there too. A lot of these, it looks like these updrafts, they kind of really get intense for a second and then they just kind of die away. So any of these areas of small hail probably short-lived. And that's if there's any small hail at all. Not very likely out there. But sometimes the radar doesn't quite pick up that small hail, especially looking farther out in these areas farther away from the radar. Sometimes it's a little harder to see, but if you're getting small hail out there, that's pretty much going to be it. It's just going to be small hail. Not expecting a whole lot in terms of any kind of damage or anything like that. We have not had a single severe thunderstorm watch or warning or severe weather warning of any kind tonight. And really the biggest issue we had, there was a power outage reported in the Ferris area, and that appears to have been remedied because the numbers have dropped again on the Ellis County, under Ellis County on the Encore website. So per that, the almost 1,300 power outages or 1,300 customers affected, that has been addressed by Encore. And last I checked, haven't really seen much. Okay, 49 affected in Ellis County, so there could be a few more. None in Hill, none in, just 3 in Johnson, and then just 1 in DeVero County. So that one that we've seen. So not a whole lot in terms of power outages, but I'm still seeing lightning, still hearing thunder on the back end of this. So when these storms go through, I would say just go ahead and go to bed. Don't worry about going outside and looking at anything. Let all of this activity get out of our area before you go outside. As a reminder, lightning can strike 30 miles outside of a storm. Not common, but it's possible. So you want to give these storms the space they need to get out of here before you start going outside and looking around here. So just be careful with that. Be mindful, and take care in those situations. But again, not severe here, just some heavy rain that's quickly moving through. We have dry air that's going to be filtering in behind all of this, and that will push all of this out, dry us out for the rest of the night. And then, again, your drive to school, drive to work tomorrow morning could be a little bit wet. In fact, let me look and see. We'll actually take a second to look at the model for the latest high-resolution model for tomorrow. See what we can find here. Now, this is looking quite some time ago. Look at the long-term model here. So you can see the way this is moving. If I get out of the way here, you can see the way that this is, that we're getting some of these wraparound showers. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it looks like most of that stays north of us. So we could actually skip out on the rain tomorrow if most of that stays north. But as I pointed to that here, it just, like I said, a few spotty showers possible tomorrow morning there. And then it has been throwing around tomorrow afternoon, throwing around some showers and possibly a few thunderstorms. It's probably just rain, but we get that afternoon lift, and there could be a little bit, could be a few showers there, here and there. So I'll be watching that tomorrow. I'll probably adjust the forecast to look at the possibility of some showers there, but that's really the limit of what we're looking at. And then the 23rd, my son's birthday, looks fantastic. Northerly winds, possibly shifting westerly there, and then the next chance of rain will be Sunday, so that's what we'll be watching there. Let's see if, I don't think the NAM is quite going to have Sunday on it yet. We might be too far ahead. Maybe. Yeah. But you can see for Sunday, and this is 4 a.m. on Sunday, you can see the next system, and it's that one that should send Sunday night a squall line, a strong line of showers and thunderstorms through our area. So late Sunday night, early Monday morning, that will be the next chance of possibly seeing some severe weather there. Yeah, heavy thunder in Corsicana, so you do have heavier activity moving through. As I showed you a moment ago, we had those little pockets of pink. Those have kind of fallen away, so we had these little spurts in the updrafts there, but really they don't last very long. So Corsicana looks like you do have a heavier patch there of some activity, but really most of this, really all of this, is below severe limits, mostly just some heavy rain. Plenty of lightning and thunder out there. Lightning and thunder is going to be probably one of the higher concerns here, because some of the lightning has just been wicked out there. And then as this continues to move through, you do want to be paying very close attention to possibly some flooding issues. We had some flooding problems reported in Waxahachie earlier tonight. And then as this continues to move eastward, you do want to be paying attention to that because we are very saturated already. We've had plenty of rain over the winter. Now we're getting into spring. Had rain the last couple of weeks and really haven't had very long breaks in order for all of that to soak in and dry out. So more and more rain piling up on that, we could be looking at some flooding issues there. So we're getting close to 2 hours into the stream here, and we have not had any severe weather at this point. We've been fortunate. No severe watches, no severe warnings. We were under a marginal risk. We didn't expect anything widespread or anything too terrible, but there was the possibility. So looks like we will dodge that for tonight. We still have some heavy activity out there for Navarro County as that continues to move through, but it doesn't look like it's going to last too terribly long there. I'm going to take one more break here. Just give me a few moments here to take a breather, but we will be right back with continuing coverage. And hopefully this time, I'm going to see if maybe I can catch the audio and make sure that doesn't default back. And this will be another chance to test that. So I will be right back with continuing coverage of very heavy rain moving through Navarro County. right, we are back, and hey, audio works this time. That's great. So thank you so much for the patience there. Just want to go over very quickly what we're looking at. A couple of spots of some heavier rain there in Navarro County. Of course, this continues to, move to the southeast here, and put that into motion. Moving to the southeast, moving fairly quickly. So shouldn't be too much more of this moving through there. And of course, we do have this heavier activity moving towards Wortham there, going to be moving kind of northeasterly towards Richland Chambers Lake there, but moving into Kearns very soon. And again, I can't rule out some small hail maybe here, but not very likely there. So we do have this rain in the Waxahachie area here, and I will say that I'm hearing some thunder out there. So there's still some lightning and thunder kind of hanging around here, but we do have this dry air that's making its way. And so we do have some rain there, but we do have drier air that's making its way in. And so, Chris, you're asking if we're done in Ellis County. We shouldn't be too much longer before Ellis County starts to dry out. So we're done with the heaviest stuff. Again, there's just some rain here and there that's kind of lingering around, but we should be done with the storms for tomorrow, for tonight. Tomorrow morning could be some spotty showers. Tomorrow afternoon could be a few more showers in our area, but overall, we should be done with the storms at least until Sunday night, early Monday morning. Could be more storms, could be some severe weather involved with that activity as well. And so we will continue to update you on Sunday night, Monday morning. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this stream. Got some other things I need to go take care of. And I've got to get some rest tonight before tomorrow and before a very busy weekend. It's my son Charlie's birthday, so we're going to be celebrating him, and I want to make sure I'm sharp for that. But stay tuned as we go forward and continue to monitor. I'll continue to monitor this, obviously off the live now, and you can see here those little, you have the those spots that'll spike and then they kind of weaken and that kind of thing happens. So not seeing anything too terribly concerning here. And yes, that dry air is moving in and will dry us out later tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll continue to monitor this off camera for tonight, but stay tuned for more updates from South Metro weather tonight if necessary. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have a forecast for you, and Sunday night, Monday morning, early Monday morning, late Sunday night, early Monday morning, could be looking at another round of potentially severe weather.